Today I'm with January 6th defendant Karl Dresch. Karl was picked up after January 6th and housed with the rest of us in the jail in Washington, D.C., or the DC Gulag as it's been called. Karl, I'd like to begin, if you don't mind, by getting a bit of background information on you. Most defendants have been made into caricatures by the press, or they've been taken out of context to portray us as fringe lunatics, but I and others got to know you fairly well inside the jail. Would you mind helping the public learn a little bit more about yourself?
Oh, sure, Tim. There's nothing too exciting about me. I'm just pretty much a normal person, like to, work hard, spend time with my family, and enjoy the outdoors, that kind of thing. Never done anything too amazing or too horrible either. Just a normal person. I've always been pretty opinionated about political issues and what's happening in the community and the country and everything. And anything else you want to know? There's nothing too exciting about me. I'm just a normal American, I guess.
Well, you might be exaggerating about the normal part. No, I'm just.
Well, yeah.
I kid. So one thing that's always interesting is that there are a variety of reasons people went to the Capitol on January 6th. I myself just went to hear a speech. I learned about a protest after the fact. Other people went there to protest things like COVID lockdowns. Despite the fact that the media and the government have portrayed us as this monolith, we really weren't a monolith. So if you don't mind, could you get into what your motivation was for going to the Capitol on January 6th or going to Washington, D.C.?
Sure. I'd say I've always been pretty involved politically. Even when I was a kid, my dad set up a protest when Al Gore came up here to speak one time and had log trucks circling the campus he was speaking at and everything. So I've been, I'm not a stranger to protests or rallies or any of that. But I guess it started the COVID lockdowns and everything got me a little more involved locally here in the politics and everything. And then when I saw what happened with the election, it was just ridiculous, the things you were seeing with, just ballots everywhere. And it just made no sense the way here in Michigan they were hiding the counting down in Detroit. And so I heard from the guy I knew up here told me about big rally on January 6th back in, I think it was in December sometime that he told me. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I heard the announcements from Trump about it, so I wanted to go. And then on New Year's Day, actually, I had a friend of mine and his girlfriend were over, and I told him, and it was news to my wife too, that I wanted to go. And so I talked him into coming with me, and we just wanted to go make our voices heard about the election. And we rented a car and picked them up, went out there. It was great. Great rally, I thought. But I just wanted to. With all the shenanigans with the elections, I thought it was important that our congressmen, that they all saw that there was so many people that cared. And thought it was important to go.
One thing I always like to do, because different people arrived at the Capitol itself at different times, under different circumstances, with different expectations. Can you take us through the day of January 6th itself? You went to the rally from start to finish. Could you tell us your story?
Sure, no problem. Well, we got to I'll actually start the day before because it was kind of cool. We're way up north in Michigan, near Lake Superior. So we drove the first day to Toledo, Ohio, and that would have been the fourth. Yeah, the fourth. We drove down there, and the fifth, driving through Ohio was amazing. On the turnpike there, it was every single car had Trump flags or Trump stickers on it, and you'd stop at a rest area or whatever, gas station, and people would see your sticker and be like, "Oh, you go to Washington?" And then when we got to Pennsylvania and Maryland going through there, it was like the Trump trains going down the freeway. So that was pretty neat. And yeah, I had gotten us a hotel in Chantilly, Virginia. So when I got there, I hung a Trump flag up in the window. You could see it from the parking lot, and a couple guys knocked on our door. They were staying a few rooms from us, and they liked our flag. So me and my friend Jeremy, we went and talked to them for a while, hung out with them. And I've never been to DC in my life, so they mentioned that they were going there in the morning. So they offered us a ride in, and they dropped us off by the Capitol actually about 8 in the morning, and then we didn't know our way around, but it was pretty easy to figure out where the rally was going to be. So we walked down to
the ellipse.
Yeah, the big, what is that, the Washington Monument, the big tall thing?
Yes.
Yeah, we were probably 30 or 40 feet in front of there, and I wanted to get closer, but all of a sudden it was just so crowded, we were shoulder to shoulder with people, so without being rude, it was impossible to go any further, so we actually couldn't see any of the speakers. We had to watch them on the big Jumbotron, or, the big screen there. And yeah, it was an amazing time at the rally. Everyone got along. Everyone was helpful and everything. And yeah, there was a couple from Florida next to us, and the lady didn't have a flag, so I had some extras with me. I gave her one, and she put it around her neck like a cape. And let's see. So yeah, we watched the speech, and it was a good time watching the speech. Did you see the big? It was about a 60 by 100 foot American flag that was like going across the crowd. Being under that was cool. And then yeah, we all laughed. It was kind of like when your uncle cusses or something. When Donald Trump said bullshit, we all started yelling bullshit. That was a good time at the speech there, and listening to all the other speakers there was interesting. And yeah, so then we at the tail end of the speech, what was that?
I literally didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. It must be the feds.
Probably.
The tail end of the speech, there was a kid next to us. We actually left maybe a couple minutes before Trump was done speaking, because he said all these people are good, because he had mentioned that we were going to the Capitol, and he said all these people are going to be going there, and we won't be able to get anywhere near it if they beat us. So we left a little bit early. Just, I think he was, you could tell he was kind of winding it down. I don't know the exact time. So I went walking down with my friend, and we had actually left my wife and his girlfriend at the hotel. If you remember back at that time, there was a lot of you heard a lot on the news about people leaving Trump rallies and getting hit with bricks and that kind of thing, and we didn't know if that kind of thing was going to happen that day, so we said, you just stay at the hotel. We'll go there. And yeah, so me and Jeremy, we were walking down the street, and I heard Alex Jones's voice, and I don't agree with him on everything, but he's definitely a character. And
They're putting chemicals in the water, and they're making the frickin' frogs gay.
Right? Yeah, I don't want my frogs to be gay.
No, who would?
But no, I heard his voice, and I thought it was just someone play, because there were people playing all kinds of stereos with different messages on them or whatever. So I was like, that doesn't even sound like. I saw and he was standing somewhere, riling everyone up like he does. So I was like, hey, let's go over here. So we went, listened to him speaking on the street that goes there to the White House. Walked with him past. So we kind of stuck around his crowd because he was stopping every once in a while and giving his little speech. And then, so we walked basically with Alex Jones's entourage the whole way down the street to the Capitol. And this is another one of those, what do they call it? Alex Jones was right moments, but I didn't stick around to listen to it. He stopped real close to the Capitol, and I watched this later after I got out. And when he stopped there, there was such a crowd of people. And I was like, it looks like everyone's going to the actual Capitol building. That looks like where the fun is, So I was like, we've heard him. I was like, let's just let other people listen to Alex. We'll go over there. So I missed his message about, he said not for anyone to go into the Capitol. It was a trap. So I should have stayed and listened to him. But, yeah, so we made our way to the Capitol, and there was just a crowd, in front of the, I guess we were near the, I don't know, but where the scaffolding was, we were kind of to the left of it as you're looking at the Capitol.
Okay.
I think you may have been in the same area, I don't know.
Yeah, I was near the northwest scaffolding, approximately.
Yeah, it was, Guy Reffitt was like towards the top of the stairs, I think.
Yep.
I didn't know any of these people at the time, but we were down, pretty close to the stairs there at the front of the Capitol.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty... I heard a couple booms on the way in, but I just figured it was someone with fireworks or something. I didn't think too much about it. And you could smell a little something in the air, which I didn't think much about that either. I thought it might have been I thought someone had lit fireworks or something. Anytime you get a crowd like that, there's going to be something. But, no, so we were there, and it was all, people just chanting slogans, and there were, prayers, and, pledging allegiance to the flag. Like, it was all pretty peaceful at first, and then, we started getting, I took a breath. You could tell then that they were throwing those, tear gas canisters.
Yeah.
Out into the crowd, and luckily I had one of those silly masks that I just took it with me. I didn't really use them much for the whole 2020 or whatever, but I figured out in DC there might be places I can't get without a mask or whatever, so I was lucky to have one in my pocket, because one of those things blew up and the wind was coming kind of towards us, and it was kind of like a yellow-colored gas in the air. I took one breath, and my lung was like paralyzed. I couldn't inhale or exhale or anything. Mm. So I dropped to the ground because it was like the air was clear there, and I hit everyone around me. I just, just tapped everyone, and I yelled when I managed to get enough breath to say anything. I yelled, "Mask up!" Told everyone around me, and I mean, I wasn't like at the front lines, like, where they were face-to-face with police officers. I was back a little ways. And there was little old ladies, little kids, everything around me. And everyone's just... And that really changed the mood of the crowd real quick. It went to peaceful and patriotic. And, I mean, it was basically peaceful still, but the anger there after that was really... incited with all the gassing and everything.
Well, to interject, when I did case law research, I came across a bunch of stuff, and one was, I think it was in your paperwork. There's this I guess you made a post after the fact that night. It's a picture of you in front of the Capitol with the caption, "Took a lil gas, what the fuck? I love masks now.
I don't think I worded it that crudely, but something like that. Yeah, no, I really did appreciate having a mask after that cast. But yeah, I think that was just sent it to a friend of mine because I'd been encouraging everyone to go. Seemed important, so that's why I was, sending pictures from the day. I didn't know how long it would last or what, so I figured if it got to anybody, more people would be better to make a bigger statement,
Mm. Yeah, I had a similar. Granted, I went in a suit and I wasn't expecting anything, but I also brought a small little cloth mask, just in the off chance that I got screwed with for being in DC. I'm from New Jersey, so I was pretty much used to the COVID lockdown conniption fits. So it came in clutch to an extent.
Yeah, Michigan was pretty bad too, but up where I live, it was pretty widely ignored. But I figured in DC it might just be, if we had to go in a store or anything, it might not serve us if we didn't have. That's the main reason I had it with me. But as far as that went, it was mostly the the gas that was good for. I mean, my lung was paralyzed. And we were seeing people coming down the steps, and we could see the top. There was just people up there, and we couldn't see anyone hitting a police officer or anything. But they were, I don't know if they were shooting pepper balls or those rubber bullets with those. What do you call it? It's kind of like a paintball gun type thing that the police had on top of the stairs there.
Yeah,
and there was guys coming by us with holes in their face and everything, and they'd come down and you'd move a little closer. They're just thinking, we might get our turn. And then I don't know if the cops up there ran out of projectiles or what, but they just kind of left before we got there. So we thought we'd have holes in our faces, but we believed in something. We weren't going to turn around just because government was abusing us. You know what I mean? So yeah, they gave up, and then the police up there took off, and everybody made their way to the Capitol. It was so crowded, we took. And it's funny, anytime I see a bike rack now, I call them ladders. But yeah, we climbed up one of those to kind of get up the stairs quicker, and then we climbed through the scaffolding there. And then hopped back out towards the top of the stairs and walked right in the Capitol. And yeah, I mean, us personally, we never got hassled by any law enforcement, Capitol Police, or anything. We just kind of wandered around. I mean, did a lot of yelling and that kind of thing. But yeah. And so we walked around the Capitol. I took. I had someone take a picture of me next to the statue there, and
was this in the crypt?
Yeah. It was. Oh shoot, I forget his name now. From South Carolina, big historical figure. Every state's got their own statue up there.
Yeah. Calhoun.
Yeah, my wife's from South Carolina, and I've got family down south, so I was like, that would be cool to get a picture next to.
You're not alone. I just talked to Cash Kelly about this.
Yeah, it was Calhoun. That's who the statue
Calhoun.
was.
Yep.
Yeah, the Calhoun statue there.
Mm.
And so we did that, and we just wandered around. I mean, there were people getting on the elevators, but just from the abuse we'd taken before, I was really paranoid about getting into an elevator. If we got gassed in there, it would be pretty bad if they found a way to do it. So we stayed on the first floor, just did our wandering around, and we made our way towards. There's some doors to the House of Representatives there. We made our way. It wasn't the one that actually. There were no windows on them. And I mean, I even chatted while we were wandering around. I even chatted with. We were in one area where like there was one cop standing, like it was like a hallway to nowhere almost, like it didn't go anywhere. And there was he was in more like the crossing guard type police uniform, the yellow stripes and everything. But he was I think he was a Capitol policeman, but he was just kind of moseying around there. So I asked him something about something on the wall. I don't even remember what it was anymore, but no time were we asked to leave it or anything. You know what I mean? Like, you'd think if it was illegal to be in there, if they had all those police at the door, why want to just start writing people tickets or asking them to leave or something? There's no, like, there were signs. So those signs were gone before we got anywhere near the Capitol. It's a restricted area and all that. So I had no idea.
Right.
But there was a line of more like SWAT team looking guys in front of the there must be several doors into the house because it wasn't where Ashley Babbitt was shot, but there was like a line of them, and they were actually pretty rough with certain people. And the interesting thing is, it wasn't that anyone like attacked them or anything. They just grabbed certain people. And
was this in the Capitol Visitor Center? Because I believe you, Mike Curzio, Billy Cressman, Robert Gieswein, I think we all crossed paths in this area called the Capitol Visitor Center. And I recall there were officers who came out of a door and they did try to
kind of like stomp forward a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I'd have to look at a map of the Capitol or something. But I'm pretty sure the doors behind them was actually the House of Representatives. But it's a different set of doors than where they killed Ashley Babbitt and all that.
Yeah, I
think
think
these doors didn't have windows in them. They were just big wooden doors.
I think this might have been a lower level. Was this reached by going down
Definitely
an escalator?
Lower level. I never went up any stairs or anything inside the Capitol. I was just kind of paranoid about going up.
Yeah, you'd mentioned
stairs.
Yeah, you'd mentioned the elevators, but I remember to get to the Capitol Visitor Center, you had to go down these escalators. That's where people just kind of poured into the visitor center.
I don't think I went there. I may have been in the visitor center, but maybe there's another way there. Or I don't recall being on too many stairs or anything. But either way, no, that was an interesting thing though. The more like they were kind of more geared up police outside of the it was the House of Representatives there. They had the their batons out and the body armor and the helmets and everything.
Right. One threatened to hit me with I assume a baton because I tried to pick a guy off the ground that they had tackled. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I noticed. There was one guy. Like they kind of took a step towards us, and we all kind of stepped back. And there was one gentleman there, and I didn't know him at all, but he had a Marines flag, and sometimes you can just look at someone and you're like, yeah, that guy was in Vietnam. You can tell by the age, and just the way he carried himself and everything. But he was really mad. He's like, where are they at? They're in there. And he didn't touch anyone, but one of the policemen grabbed him and like tackled him to the ground. And so I noticed they seemed to be picking on people that
were fragile.
People that not necessarily fragile, but people that would be sympathetic to others. Like you know what I mean? Like that it would rile us up to see these people getting attacked. I just, especially that gentleman there. That was the impression I got. Like, why would they pick him out of the crowd?
Yeah.
To attack. And, a guy like us, middle-aged, younger, whatever, people don't really. But, you see an older veteran guy, you're like, hey, what are you doing? That was my impression anyway. So we were there, and that line of people, there was the line of the police there. Outside there, eventually he started yelling. He's like, "Hey, be quiet a second. So we yelled. He's like, something important I got to tell you. So we yelled back because there were so many people chanting behind us, and everything. So me and whoever next to me, we yelled behind us, like, quiet, because, we wanted to, he sounded like he had something important to tell us.
Yeah.
And he said, so we finally got it, in our little area there, kind of quieted down. And he's like, hey, he said, there's been shooting shooting has started on the house floor. And he's like, you know what that means? Kind of implying, time to go. And we had no idea at the time what happened. It's funny because I never heard a shot, but I guess it was Ashley Babbitt being shot. And looking at the timeline, that would have been about it. So we slowly made our way out of the Capitol then. And, it was the first time anyone told us to leave. And they acted like they were going to... He was kind of, inferring that they were going to unleash some real violence on us. So we were like, gosh, probably time to go. So we went, and, we were... By that time, it was, I don't know, almost 3, and we had we'll go find something to eat or drink or something and come back here, see what's going on. And so we made our way to pretty much where we left, but the door was blocked with it was some kind of like curio cabinet or something. But there were some police holding it, but so many people pushing in that it was kind of sliding around, and I was waiting by the window, and I figured I'll let all these people, there's people jumping in the window and everything. And so I was like, I'll wait till there's a break in that line, and then I'll hop out. And there's a guy outside, and I had no clue who he was at the time. And I'm almost positive it was Ray Epps. Now, I heard about Ray Epps in jail, but I didn't know much about him. But then when I got out and saw a picture, and I could be wrong on this, but it definitely, I'm positive it was him. I never saw him inside the Capitol, but he was pretty much throwing people in the window. Like, hey, we need more patriots inside. And he was helping people jump through the window there, into there. And then finally, when there was kind of a break in the line, I hopped up, and I was a little woozy from all the gas and everything. And I had a backpack and a flagpole with me. So he grabbed that while I jumped down off the window ledge and handed it back to me. And I was like, oh, that guy's kind of helpful, but, hindsight's 50-50. Like, you see him throwing all those people in, and how many of those people are, in jail now or went to jail? Who knows? But, so we went, and, there was still, like, as far as you could see, people coming towards the Capitol, so we figured we'd just take a walk and come back. We were kind of upset when we got back. About an hour later or so, we walked around. Every single door was locked. We're like, what did you people do? we leave the house for an hour and it's all locked up. But no. So then, just for a crowd. It was more people that day than I've ever seen in my life, and for a crowd of people like that size, and just how nice and helpful everyone was all day, it was amazing. Like, we had, because we got a ride in there, and so we're like, how are we going to get back? So we figured out the train around, I think around 6:30 or something. We might have violated the curfew a little bit, but...
Carl?
Yeah?
Could you pause 1 second?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's just stuff going on in the background. I just want to make sure that
You got your end or mine?
Hold on 1 second.
Let me know if my phone's breaking up too.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, sorry about that. There's a cat in the background.
Oh yeah, but so we get out the train, and we didn't really know what we'd do once we got, because the train station ended like 10 miles or something before our hotel. But there was a guy riding the train with us. You know, it was full of Trump supporters on the way back, and we were talking to a guy. I don't know. I won't mention his name because I don't know if he's been arrested or anything. But he was from New York or something. Said he was in the Proud Boys or something. And so we were just talking, and he's like, "Oh, well, my car's at the train station where he's staying." So we got a ride with him. You know, just a complete stranger. But all day it was things like that. You know, just if anybody had a problem, there was people helping, and I didn't hear anything about any pickpockets or anything you'd expect with a crowd like that. It was good crowd there. I really enjoyed it. Then I was just I was just amazed when I turned on the TV and saw the spin they put on it.
What happened to people helping people? It's
right. But it was just amazing. And
so you get back from the Capitol, and the narratives that are promulgating, like everything's night and day compared to what you had actually experienced. What was life like after January 6th, and how long did it take for you to get arrested?
Well, I got arrested on the 19th of January. But we didn't go straight home. I mean, we were already, we'd taken time off for work and everything else. And so while we're already that far, I had rented the car for 2 weeks. So we went down south and visited some family. And no, it's funny. A couple days later, I got it's on the 7th or the 8th, I'm not sure. Probably the 8th. Someone up here sent me a text. It was a picture of a Facebook post from a woman up here, and she had the tip line for the FBI and that, and the pictures I had put out and everything, and just a big rant about how terrible we were at the Capitol and this and that, and encouraging people to call in on us. And that was and I was just kind of laughing at it. I was like, because I had heard they were, I saw everyone freaking out and talking about what a crime it was to be in the Capitol and everything, and I had even seen that they had started arrested some guys, but I really thought they were just going after the famous people, like I saw Chansley got arrested and that. I was like, there's tens of thousands of people down there. Who knows how many in the Capitol? Like, they're not going for everybody. They're gonna get some famous people. But so what's that?
I was just laughing. This is the most famous man from Michigan.
Right? Yeah, I was actually the first to be arrested in Michigan. But so I got that, and that really, she wrote some funny things too. She wrote about the cap. She said that, because I looked her up, of course, she's out there saying for everyone to call the FBI on me.
Right.
She was a doctor up here. She's since moved to Vermont. So if anyone from Vermont's out there listening, get an appointment with Dr. Sharon Stoll. Get your COVID shot or something from her. She's starting a new business out there. I'm sure she's a great lady.
Show some support.
What's that?
Show some support. Buy local.
yeah, definitely. Call her up, make an appointment for your COVID shot or whatever medical needs you got out there. But, it's fine. I never knew this lady or anything. She's just she had a list of people she suspected from up here. He told everyone to call the FBI on. But, yeah, so I saw that. I just thought it was funny. I sent that. I took the picture of it and sent it to everyone I knew. You know, nothing threatening or anything, but just, I mean, she's publicizing me. I'll publicize her. But they made a huge deal about that later on in my bond hearing, that I was, it was a citizen trying to get justice for that day, and I was threatening her. It's like, how's that a threat? She's publicly sharing me, and I'm publicly sharing her.
Now,
ridiculous stuff, you know. They're like,
Karl,
that was threatening.
You can't intimidate witnesses. Karl. That's bad.
Yeah, I guess. No. Publicizing it herself, like, I don't know. But yeah, they made a huge deal about it. I never wished any harm upon her or anything like that. But yeah, they were not impressed with that I shared her thing with pretty much everyone I knew. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of ridiculous. But yeah, so yeah, we had kind of a long trip. We had some issues on the way back. We stopped and visited some of our family down south, and then stopped and spent the night in a friend's in Tennessee on the way back, and near Nashville. And we left there, and my father-in-law, we heard the morning that we left there in South Carolina, had passed away. So I had to drive the whole way through West Carolina. I had to bring my wife there, but I couldn't stay. I had the car to bring back. So dropped her off there. That was the 15th, which was actually the day I learned that my warrant was put out. And then drove all through the night back here. Got the car cleaned out, returned it. And then, so the 19th, the morning of the 19th, I had just picked up all my mail. So I brought that home in the morning, and then got all the bills out and packages I had to send out or whatever. I got them all ready to bring to the post office, and I went to, on the way to the post office, there's a store around the corner here, Harder's. I stopped there to get some nicotine, and I parked the car in front. I got out. I walked to the sidewalk, and a state police car pulled up at the corner. And there was a trooper in there that I had actually met once, but it was just a random. I saw a pickup in the ditch in the snow once, and I went home and got a shovel. I was going to help them out, but they were gone by the time I got back. So he had stopped to see if I knew whose truck it was or something. It was the only time I've ever met this guy. But he's at the corner, and he's waving at me. Karl, acting like, and he's like, hey, how you doing? He turns around, parks behind my car, and gets out. He's like, how you been, Karl? I'm like, this is kind of strange. But I don't know. It seemed like I went to January 6th, so I thought maybe you heard about that and thought it was cool or something. It was kind of weird, but he's like, how you been? I was like, I've been good. How you doing? He's like, oh, good. But he wasn't like acting too. It was like you saw your best friend in years or something. It was really strange. But
was he?
So he's talking. He didn't say anything about the Capitol or anything, and then he says, "You mind if I pat you down quick?" And I was like, "What's this about?" And he goes, "Oh, I got 3 federal warrants for you." I was like, "Oh, shit." He's like, "A felony and 2 misdemeanors." I was like, "Great." I'm tired. Then he asked for my phone, which I didn't think I had with me, but then I grabbed my pocket. I was like, "Oh, yeah." Since they had a warrant to take that. So he took me to the state police station, and they left me in a little cell there. uh, for about 7 or 8 hours. It was about 9 or 10 o'clock when I got out of there, but there were two FBI agents in there, and one of them came to the cell and asked about what doors were open on my house, which I said he had a warrant to search my house, so I didn't feel like being too helpful. And then the amusing thing he said to me was, he asked me about if any people or anything was there, and I was like, I'm getting arrested, I don't want to answer anything. And then he's like, do you have any pets? He's like, I don't want to kill your dog. I was like, I'm old enough to remember Ruby Ridge and stuff. Don't tell me you don't want to kill my dog. Come on. But I was like, yeah, so yeah, I told him how he could get in my house and that I had a dog. And then, then there was one trooper that they left with me all day. He was nice. He brought me coffee and everything and snacks, stuff to read. But they wouldn't let me contact anyone. Operational security, they called it.
Yeah.
And so I just had to sit in there. I guess my car was towed and searched or whatever, but wasn't even the car I took with me, so I guess that was pretty non-helpful to him. But yeah, then the trooper got me out once. He brought me back to the room that the two FBI agents were in, and they're like, yeah, we want to talk to you about January 6th. And I was like, nope. You got this look like, do you want to talk about it? But, no, so then they did their thing, tore up the house, whatever. And then they drove me to Marquette. It's about 100 miles from here, 110 maybe. But it was the slowest ride. Those FBI agents, they're odd. That one sat in the back seat. It was a four-door F-150. One sat in the back seat with me, and the other one, they had me in the three-piece, all cuffed up. The leg chains and the waist chain and everything. And they made me wear a mask on the ride, which I couldn't reach it the way I was chained up, but I managed to figure out how to pull it down with my teeth because I can't stand wearing masks. But the driver up front, he kept on looking in the mirror at me, and every once in a while he'd be like, "You need to put your mask on." And the guy back with me, they were kind of playing the good cop, bad cop thing. The one in the back with me was like, he'd pull the mask up, and I'd be like, he'd be like, "We can turn the heat down or something if you want, but you have to wear your mask." And trying to get me to answer questions.
You want a back rub?
Yeah.
So from there, could you describe, we call it diesel therapy when they move you around the country. A lot of us were moved by either local police or the marshals.
Yeah.
From that point, how did you get to DC from Michigan?
Yeah, well, they brought me to the Marquette jail. I was there for about a week. I was actually in solitary pretty much the whole time I was there. I had breakfast with 3 other guys in a block, and then one of the guards came with a nurse and dragged me. They wanted to do a COVID test on me, and I was pissed off about getting arrested, so I refused the test. I was like, I'm fine, I won't need a test. He was all like, "Man, you're putting us all at risk." I was like, I don't, let me out if I'm at risk. I don't know what to tell you. They refused the nose swab thing, so they threw me in solitary. And then, I got driven by the marshals from there to Chippewa County, Michigan. It's about a couple 100 miles away, and it was a fun ride with the marshals. They crammed us in the back of this. That's the thing I noticed about the marshals, too. They treat everyone like livestock or something, even other law enforcement. They're an amusing crew. Because when they picked us up, they pulled in there with their, they had a bunch of ice and dirt and stuff on the bottom of their Suburban, and in the Sally port, he's kicking off the ice, and the deputy was like, "Hey, don't do that in there," and he's just like, "Sweep it up, dude. I don't care." But we made it in a hurry to Chippewa County. They drive like maniacs. marshals. It was like 0 degrees out, icy, and it was a school bus was stopped coming towards us. And we were going about 110 or something in this Suburban, and he put the lights, the stoplights on the highway, and blocked up his brakes, and we got down to about 50 or something right before the school bus, and it was obvious he couldn't stop, so he just put the hammer back down. So that was an amusing ride. But just crammed in there with 5 people in one seat with no legs, and it was only one row that they used, and the Suburban in the back was whatever their stuff. And so there was like 5 of us that were getting moved there. And then I went downstate. Yeah, I was in Chippewa County for like 3 weeks. And then the marshals, they just drove me downstate to Nuevo County Jail. And I was there for a while because after a couple weeks, they brought me to Grand Rapids. They told me I was going to be on a soap dish, a Special Operations Air Patrol. It's like a little plane that they just move. They said me and like some terrorist or something were going to be on there, some kind of Arab or something. But yeah, I was in a cell all day at the federal building in Grand Rapids, and everyone that went with me from Nuevo County shipped off, but no one ever came for me. And at the end of the day, they got me, and they said, yeah, because of the blizzard, my flight was canceled, so I went back for a couple more weeks. And then I took then they sent me back again, and I took the Con Air from somewhere towards Detroit. They drove us down there. There's a sheriff's van to Grand Rapids, and then a marshal's van from there to everyone flying off. And so the Con Air was pretty cool, I guess. I mean, after being locked up for that long. But yeah, I was in Grady County then for only about a week in Grady County. I guess they were kind of in a hurry to get me there. My lawyer told me if I'd have been like 2 days later, it was too long between the indictment or the arrest and the arraignment or something. I'm not sure exactly what, but it was like they like almost didn't get me there in time. But yeah, Grady County, I kind of liked it because it was kind of more. I don't know, jail's boring. You know, you've been there. But I felt like in Grady County, it was like being at like an airport. You know, just everyone's flying, everyone's going somewhere. You know, and that's actually where I met the first other 1-6ers. Josh, I can't remember his last name. There was 2 brothers from Montana, and one of them was in my block. And they were really cool when you got there because, I don't know, prison's pretty segregated, I guess. So, like, when I came to the block, there was, like, 4 or 5 white guys saw me, and they came up. They're like, hey, your bunk's over here. And they gave me a bag with, like, good toothpaste and, you know, other stuff, you know, just whatever, paper and toilet paper, all kinds of things, you know. They're like, you know, they're pretty well, because, I mean, they were definitely a minority in there. But there were some cool guys. There was one guy for selling counterfeit car titles or something, and another guy for drugs. And Josh, I think, him and his brother got arrested either way. But yeah, we were there for 5, and then we all a bunch of us got our COVID tests, and he failed it. So he did not go to the plane. But then we went to the big holding room on like the 3rd floor of Grady County Jail, and then I met his brother, was in a different block, and a bunch of, that's when I first met like a bunch of 1-6ers, you know. It was him, Guy Reffitt, Alex Harkrider and Ryan Nichols, Ronnie and his buddy Nate, they were there. Donovan Crowell, I don't think you met him. Yeah, you probably did meet him. He was in our block for about a day. Yeah. But yeah, we flew out to Virginia somewhere, or West Virginia, I think our plane went to, and then we got a van to North Neck Jail, and I only spent a night there. They had it in this weird room with like a basketball court, and none of the water worked. But we only spent one night there, and then we got to ride to DC, and DC was like going to just a different world. Just the incompetence and stuff there, it was ridiculous. And, I remember sitting they had a little room where when they first brought us in, where they left us all in before they gave us our uniforms and all that, and we were all sitting in there. And I remember the doctor walked past us, and he looked in there. He's like, and he says to one of the guards, he's like, why don't any of the new guys wear masks? And he's like, oh, those are those Trump guys. And he's like, I see.
They be trumping.
But yeah, and then had to go get our 19 vials of blood taken and everything, and then we went to C2A, and got to give a shout out to the from Nashville, zip tie guy.
Munchell?
Yeah, Munchell. Eric. Yeah. Yeah, he was the like the trustee there, you know, he'd go around and bring the meals and everything, and he's out all day sweeping and everything. And oh man, he was a lifesaver in there, because we're all brand new. He'd bring us coffee, and he'd use the phone to call. Like he let, you know, my wife hadn't heard from me in days. He got to use the phone and let her know where I was, and you know, he was real good to all. He never came to C2B with us. He was in C2A. He was the trustee there, and then until he got it's the big Munchell decision and got let out.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my one question I was going to ask was when did you come to C2B? Because I never went to C2A. I had quarantined and then went to Gen Pop and then went directly to C2B. I had gotten to DC February 3rd, and so I had quarantined for about a week after that, and then went right to C2B in Cleveland. Cleveland was the trustee in C2B, but I'd never met Munchell.
Yeah. I got there, I want to say March 29th or I'll do it right now. I'd have to look, but it was seems like it was towards the middle or end of March.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was for us. It was you spend all day in that like waiting room area. It kind of looks like a airport waiting room. Everyone's got a chair, and they got those movies you watch about like the rules in DC jail and like don't get raped or whatever.
That's not funny.
It was kind of funny, disturbing, but you gotta have a sense of humor.
Well, on the subject
especially in a place like that.
On the subject of PREA violations, so you get to the Gulag, you get to DC. What are the conditions like? You'd mentioned solitary confinement. What was an average day like, at least in the beginning? And did the conditions change or improve over time?
C2A was, I think we were maybe like 2 people at a time were allowed out of their cells for like an hour at a time, like staggered throughout the day. So you got an hour out of your cells. One of the worst things in there, though, like, I actually, when I was younger, I went to jail. Nothing major, just some traffic type things. But jail now, that COVID stuff was just ridiculous. They'd come check our temperatures every like 15 minutes in C2A. A guard would come through, and so you could not get any sleep. It was just constant check your temperature. It's like just ridiculous. But yeah, we got out for a while. I remember, yeah, and then you could take a boiling. The shower was so hot in that one. It was like it was boiling. But it was nice to be able to get one anyways, I guess. But yeah, you'd have an hour out, and I'd always do, just I'd walk cell to cell and talk to the guys through their door or whatever that were up, and so got to meet. That was a good thing I liked about it. It was just a lot of like-minded people I got to meet and talk to in there. And like I said, Munchell was a lifesaver for everybody, Yeah, because for some reason they didn't activate my phone or anything. And when my lawyer finally got a hold of me, it was like, because my wife even told me who my lawyer was. She knew. In C2A, they were not letting him talk to me. They were telling him I was quarantined or something, and that he couldn't talk to me. So that was delayed my initial bond motion and everything. Didn't really matter. It got denied, but still.
Do you think that was intentional?
I think so. It's strange because some people were meeting with their lawyers, and it's hard to say in DC. A lot of it seems intentional, and a lot of it just seems, I don't know how you say it nicely, retarded.
I was going to say incompetence, but yes.
Yeah, like when I got out and I got my little ID, they give you an ID when you let out. I got an ID with the wrong birthday on there, It's like, nice.
We have an ID for Karl Dresch, if that is your real name.
Oh yeah, and I'd get I forget his name. Do you remember that one guard that had the how do you describe him best? His shirt was always too small. Oh, he could not read. I'd get the wrong mail time, and he'd bring other people my mail. It was awful.
I'm sorry to say, but you haven't narrowed it down for me.
Yeah, well, be that as it may, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I would be too singled out from the other January 6 guys, and there were people whose lawyers were getting a hold of them, but mine, they were, for the first little, week or so I was in there, I think they finally got me a call with him after about a week or so, but he said he had been trying, and they just kept telling him I was quarantined, nothing they could do. But, yeah, like I got brought to, what was his name? Sam Fisher or something. He was from New York. Nice kid. He got bond. He had the same judge as me, so they accidentally brought me in for his bond hearing and switched us out. But yeah, there was a lot of that, like, oh, you're the wrong guy. But yeah, as far as the conditions are, like, yeah, it was, what I noticed was a lot of, like, anytime the weather would change, the water seeping through the wall. So that created a lot of mold in some of the cells and things. But, yeah.
Was there a noticeable difference in the conditions between A and B?
I didn't think it was that different. I mean, we still got like an hour out, but it was more people with you. Let's see. Yeah, I'd say they were both about the same. I mean, they were right next to each other, and I saw, not in my cell in C2B, I think it was just what side of the wall it was on or whatever. Like, my cell in C2B, I think being upstairs, and I think the walls in the back, like on the side you were in, cell 16 was it you were in? The 1-6 unit?
Yes. Well, I was in 1-6 on bottom tier.
Yeah, like I think your wall was worse for like, just like moisture coming through, and that would turn to mold and everything. I didn't notice it too bad in my cell, and I was in the Trump suite, 45. Nice cell, but no, that just being locked in that little cell all day though, it's like, I don't know. I think they just use that, air or something.
There's I can recount a long list of I guess I'd say civil rights abuses over the approximately 2 years I was there. Different things happening at different points, but was there? Did you ever feel like you were being mistreated by the jail or the guards? Everybody has different perspectives. I had never been to the hole, but I know that I was still locked down for certain periods based on lies. So, I mean...
right, yeah, the lockdowns there were ridiculous. Like, they gave us that 5.5 hours out. I remember they put a little slip out. It was on Juneteenth, actually, they did that. So they had it explaining how, numbers have dropped or something, so you can be out of your cell, for explaining how that would work when they gave us our 5.5 hours out. But I remember I wrote on that note, it was on the wall, I wrote, the Juneteenth Declaration, a new birth of freedom. I thought that was kind of amusing. Cash thought I'd get in trouble for it or something. These people can't even read it. It's funny anyways. But, I remember getting a lockdown after that. Like, they weren't even letting us out for showers for like a week in there. But, and then trying to kind of coerce us into getting a vaccine. Promising we'd get haircuts and all this. I never got it. I noticed is everyone that, like my judge, I don't know, everyone that recommended a vaccine to me wanted me dead, it seemed like, so I wasn't getting it. But, let's see. As far as violations, one I remember is, I'm sure he was loud and a pain in the ass and everything, was Jake Lang. One of the time, I remember he was almost always in the hole, but one time when he was back in C2B, I think he was near your cell when he came back. Because remember, he used to be down by Big O down there, like cell number 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah.
And then he went to cell 18 or something, somewhere to the right of your cell.
Well, actually, what it was is he, Mike Curzio had just left, so they took him out of the cell next to mine, which was 15. And then Lang had come back from the hole from the last time, and so they had put him in the cell next to mine. Yeah, that was for a night.
Well, you know how I did when he didn't last there. I think he was only there a few hours, and or maybe one night and then a few hours the next day. I don't know, but you know how I did when we were only like a few of us out at a time. But I'd go cell to cell. I'd talk to you and I'd talk to Guy and everyone else locked in the cell. And I went to Jake's and I was talking to him, and we had the real manly looking woman guard. I don't remember her name. She always wore white, I think. I don't know, but she was yelling at me to get away from this. And I mean, we did that every day. It was a pretty normal thing, you can get away from, don't be near anyone's window. And I'd already talked about, she saw me when I was by Jake's cell. And I was talking to him. He'd been gone a while, and so she called. I think it was Robinson. She called Robinson in there, and Robinson, Jake started, giving a speech or something. You know how he does. And Robinson's like, so I went and I just sat on the table there because I'm like, this is interesting. I'll follow the orders, but I'm going to check it out. And he goes to him, why are you tripping? He just grabbed the OC spray and got him right in the face. He got right to his knees. But this was just, maybe a little bit of talking back.
That's one way to put it.
What's that?
I said that's one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the rules are, on that. But I think it's mainly used, for... at the time, from what I could see, and then I think they shipped him out of there. Yeah,
he went back to the hole after that.
Yeah, he was in the hole when I went there for my their shenanigans. And, yeah, they always gave me rec time with him. Which, actually, it was funny, the difference in guards down there. Like, I don't know, I felt like ours were all, like, I mean, some of them were just, you know, bozos, whoever. But there were some of them you could tell were, like, I don't know, kind of more intelligence trained than the rest of than the rest of the jail. Like, they were a lot, down there, they were calmer, they didn't give it, you know.
Yeah. Well, I that's what I've heard. I've heard that the guards in the hole don't take themselves so seriously.
Yeah, you just sit there and, you know, let you out when it's your time to get out. I mean, they let us out for like an hour. You could watch TV. Once in a while, they'd let you go outside. Outside, it was like just like this little room with sheet metal around it, and there was like a open space on the top of it. I'm sure you saw it when we were on.
Yeah, we'd go out there.
Rec, you could see that.
Yeah, we go out there and yell to whoever's in the hole at the time.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were in the hole, did you happen to see an inmate named Magic Johnson?
Oh yeah. Inmate number 32. He was a bad one.
Oh, you know what? Let me ask. What's the funniest thing you remember from your time? Because as horrible as DC was, there were a few doozies I recall. You know.
I remember Sam from Miami.
Camargo. Yeah.
Yeah. He could really. Sometimes I didn't even understand it, but he could really
troll.
Do some funny things. Yeah, I remember once he. I think a guard was like kind of like half threatening him or something, and he like dropped to the ground. He was like, George Floyd, what are you doing? George Floyd.
He was doing.
He was just amusing it. I thought it was funny. I mean, you had to be there to really understand it. And then
he was doing a kneeling motion.
That other time, he like I don't even think he was working out or anything. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe, but he like fainted one time. It was just funny. I mean, he didn't get hurt or anything. We were all worried about him. He got hauled off. But yeah, he fainted, and then he was out for a second, and like everyone ran up to him, and someone got a guard or something, and they got out. He got up, and he's like, ah. I don't know. It's just you'd have to see it. I'm not trying to make fun of him or anything, but it was funny.
Oh my God!
I don't know if he was making it up, or I think it was real. I mean, I talked to him.
It was so. It was completely. I'm sorry. He completely made it up. He just started spinning his head around. He was going, whoa.
Oh, you saw it too, right? Yeah, you could probably see it from yourself.
No, I was out. You were
out too. Okay.
Yeah, he did that the first day they let us out on more time. He did that right then. Mike Curgio was pissed. Like, people were like, "You fucking got us," because they locked us down for that.
Yeah. It was like our first like half day out, and then he screwed it up.
And he came back from the nurse's office, and he was like, "The nurses were impressed. They said I'm a really good actor."
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was funny when he came back. I think I was sitting with Mike Foy, I think, when he came back in there, and I think Jess Watkins was the first one to like render aid or whatever, you know.
Mm.
And so when Sam came back, he came in and he like kissed him or something, like, you know, just on the cheek or something. Me and Foy were like, "Oh, you know, that was funny." I don't care who we are. Me and Foy just looked at each other and cracked up. Good times.
Yeah, that was a good one. Let me.
There was a lot of it. I mean, I hear y'all got funnier after I left.
Oh yeah.
I heard about your comedy shows and everything.
The Hopium Den.
The best was remember when Big O and Jake were next to each other, and there was some altercation about the telephone or something, and the guards were like, everybody back to your cells, and Jake's like, nobody go back to your cells. And then Big O was mad about it, so they were both, you put the two loudest people next to each other. It lines up for some funny stuff. But they finally got back in their cells, and Jake was giving a speech or something, and Big O just started yelling. I know this is a family show, but shut the fuck up! Shut the F up! Shut the F up! Shut the F up! It just kept yelling. Oh, that was pretty funny.
I remember so many times you cop out. Oh my god! Just listening to you fucking do that later on. Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Oh yeah, he yelled it like 15 times in a row. That was
oh fuck! I'm done.
I mean, I don't know. Someone said this to me in jail before once. It's like going to jail turns you into that 12-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really taking care of yourself. Someone brings you your food and you're like,
right.
You just revert to like, and it's so boring. You got to do something to keep amused.
Yeah.
Other violations of like our due process or civil rights or whatever. When my lawyer would visit me, and I think everyone else's too, they'd bring us to that room where you sit in a little holding cell, and then you go meet him. You talk on a telephone through that little plexiglass.
Yeah.
And we were in there, and I remember the first time I went in there with him, he looked at me, he's like, why are you in cuffs? I was like, I don't know, he put me in cuffs. He goes there all the time. He's a busy lawyer. He does a lot of he's got private practice, and he does a lot of the bigger lot of criminal cases. He does trials, death penalty cases, all kinds of things. But he was surprised to see me in cuffs in there. But the main thing that weirded me out was the guard that would walk back and forth behind us the whole time we're talking to our lawyer. Like,
did they put you in that little room? Like I know you're like initially you're in that there's like that door that moves open, and then they hide you in that thing, and then your lawyer shows up. Did they put you in like in a little like a
you're in a
tiny
little holding
door
cell, and there's I remember scratching all kinds of Free the One Sixers and
I did too.
Trump one and stuff all over that wall. That was fun. But yeah, that's what we definitely left a mark on that jail. I'd say like every cell I went to or whatever got some kind of patriotic slogan scratched into it. But I'd be in that little like holding cell area, and then you go out, and there'd be other defendants from around the jail next to you. Not necessarily other January 6th guys, but whoever.
Yeah.
But just a guard walking behind us the whole time was, you know what I mean? How do I know they're not recording or anything? You should be able to have a private space with your lawyer. But I think they said you could if you got the vaccine.
Well, yeah, they said that. They said a lot of things about what you could do if you got the vaccine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
You shouldn't have to have a medical procedure done to privately meet with your lawyer. That's just ridiculous.
Right. Well, they're holding civil rights hostage over a medical decision, and I recall, especially early on, people had to wear those like the 3-piece suit. The Hannibal Lecter get up.
Oh yeah.
That did stop eventually, but they definitely walk people around like they were literal terrorists.
Yeah, I felt bad on the Con Air. That was the first time I met Mike Foy. They made him wear, because he was supposedly a man of violence, they made him wear the black box with the 3-piece suit. He could barely, when we got that North Neck, like he could barely move his hands because we left Grady County at like 5 a.m. and the whole way he had to wear those. He's trying to eat his sandwich on the plane and all that.
Did you enjoy the sandwiches? Did you enjoy the 2 slices of meat and 4 slices of bread?
Where in Grady County or in
Or whatever you got. I remember
DC?
that's what the marshals gave us on the planes. You get
Oh
like
yeah, the Marshall food.
like two little
Uh,
crappy Oreo knockoff cookies and then a slice of meat.
yeah, trying to eat it with you feel like what is it, Tyrannosaurus or something with little arms together and trying to lift it up to your mouth with the chain and everything.
I always knew I was a Tyrannosaurus. I just wondered when I would really express it. Tell me about that too. Everybody talks about how bad the food is in DC, but
Yeah.
the bologna. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the bologna. I'm trying to remember what my favorite meal there was. I think it was those burrito things they gave me. And those were remember those? Those were all right.
Yeah, I remember for the long, at least in the beginning, like specifically in DC, it was like we basically had bologna sandwiches every day for like 2 meals out of the day, and they came with this cheese that did not melt. It was just like plastic cheese, and it was horrible.
Oh yeah. The food wasn't too good there, but I remember the best stuff was Bobby would save stuff and buy stuff off Canteen. Bobby Gieswein,
Hmm.
he could cook some stuff up. He'd make cakes and like burritos and stuff, but that was mostly stuff you had to buy off the.
Yeah, the commissary.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only way you weren't having a bad time.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah, and then there was Lonnie Kaufman.
Oh yeah, Pops.
I mean, he didn't even do anything. He would have never got searched if it weren't for the fake pipe bombs. He would have never been arrested. And I mean, he's a veteran. Nicest guy you ever met.
70.
Yeah, I felt horrible for him. I remember the worst I felt, and if you're listening, Lonnie, I apologize. But there was one day in there, I remember it was real sunny. It must have been June or July. And my cell wasn't bad because I was facing that little parking lot and we didn't get a whole lot of sun.
Right.
But all the cells on that back wall were like 140 degrees. I mean, everybody was like in their underwear sweating back there. And one of the guards let everyone pop. They weren't letting them out of their cell, but they were letting them keep the door open so they'd get like a little bit of cooler air going through there.
Yeah.
And I forget who the guard was, but he had let them pop the doors, and I was there talking to Lonnie, and I forget if it was Hayes or Robinson, one of those higher ups was coming, and he said, "Hey, everybody shut their door. I'll pop it after Hayes was coming or something. I forget which one it was, but one of them was coming. He said, everybody shut your door. When they leave you, I can pop them again." And so I'm like, "Lonnie, I gotta shut your door." And he's like, "No way." And I'm like, he was like pushing on it. And I'm like, "I gotta shut it, or they're gonna like lock us all down and keep your door shut." So yeah, I had to push it shut on him, and I felt real bad, but it seemed like the best thing to do instead of having someone come in and be like, "Why is their doors open?"
Yeah. No, they didn't take very good care of him. I don't know if you were there at the point, but like a little after you left, actually, Marjorie Taylor Greene came in and she was like, "What the hell?" Because his hands and arms had turned purple by that point.
His hand was turning purple while I was there. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I mean,
they didn't take care of him at all.
The guy wasn't a threat to anyone. They're like, "Oh, he had addresses to senators." It's like, that's what a citizen should do, They should be like talking to their servants in Washington,
He had Molotov cocktails. It's like they're just dried up fuel cans in his fucking pickup truck. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, he got done dirty. Probably worse than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, come on, though. I mean, if that happened any other day in D.C., you'd get a night in jail or something, maybe a ticket, something.
Yeah. You know, you so you had been indicted. I think you had the 1512 at one point. Is that right?
Yeah, I had that, and yeah, when the charges came out, it was before regular misdemeanors. Everyone got 1512. Yeah.
So so if you don't mind, like, it was difficult initially for you to talk to your lawyer, but you eventually were able to get through to him. And, what can you describe, like, what was your decision process in terms of how you decided to resolve your case, in terms of going to trial versus taking a plea deal? What was going through your mind there?
Well, going through my mind, I never thought anyone would actually see a trial, but then I realized they could just, the way they were doing, I'm like, oh, okay. When you and everyone else, they were like, you weren't allowed to bring up certain defenses and everything. But in my mind, I was like, they're going to keep me locked up forever, kill me in prison or something. I mean, I was a little paranoid about the whole thing. But, well, they eventually, we went through our little pre-trials or whatever, bond hearing. They're kind of pointless, got denied. But, first my lawyer was like, hey, I just wanted to run up some, it was before we ever had a plea offer. He's like, I went and ran some numbers, and you know how the federal system works with points and everything, and all the they wanted enhancements on mine for like planning and threatening and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so we went through the numbers. He's like, if you just pled guilty, it's like probably be about 4 or 5 years. And I was like, no. And he's like, I didn't think so. And then we went to one of the pre-trials, and they, well, no, it was before the next, I think it was a pre-trial conference. The U.S. attorney, Jennifer Blackwell was my U.S. attorney's name. She sent to my lawyer an offer where if I pled guilty to the 1512C, they would drop all the misdemeanors and I think drop one of the enhancements they wanted, but keep another one or something. And he it's his job. He's got to come in with the offer to me. And he came in. He's like, I just told her, pardon my language. He's like, I just told her to get fucked. Or fuck off or something, he said. And I was like, yeah, he did the right thing. Because he's like, you'd still be looking at it 5 years probably, based on, whatever the point system and the crime and everything. And he's like, I think we got good grounds for a trial. Like, you didn't really do anything. So we went to the next pre-trial. We had Amy Berman Jackson. She's a piece of work. Wow. Yeah. She was Roger Stone's judge. Just, but anyways, she at our next pre, she asked if we'd come anywhere, if we had any pleas worked out or anything, or if she should. And my lawyer Jerry Smith, he was a good lawyer. I looked up some of his cases on the legal tablet, and there were some interesting ones. And some people far worse he kept out of prison. I was like, yeah, this guy's all right. He said the judges that, yeah, they've made an offer, but we're more inclined to go to trial. And she's like, well, have you done, why don't you do a counter offer? She didn't really want to see a trial. So he's like, all right, well, we'll see what we can do. She set another date, and I went back, and
I think that was sometime in the middle of June or something. And then that was right at like a week later or something. Cruzio pled guilty to that parading charge.
Yeah.
And he said he'd probably be out in a few days. He did his 6 months. I was like, that gave me the idea. I called my lawyer. I was like, hey, tell him I'll plead guilty to parading. I've already got 6 months in here. So he's like, well, I don't know. I'll try it. And then, so yeah, I talked to him, and then he called me back in a few weeks. You know, he brought the little legal phone around once in a while.
Little blue one?
Yeah. I can't believe it, but they accepted it. So kind of blew my mind too, but I mean, as bad as the trials were, like, I mean, I guess I would have got found guilty for sure. I mean, if you did. We didn't really do anything different.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But yeah,
I'll
plead guilty and
might have used some different language at the cops. I don't know, but
either way, I mean, whatever you say to a cop, how does that obstruct any proceedings?
I don't know. It makes the judges not like you more. I know that.
Oh yeah, no, my judge didn't really like me either.
Yeah. Oh yes, I remember. What was that at your sentencing? Didn't she refer to you? Didn't she tell you that you're definitely not a patriot? Something along those lines.
Yeah. She said my vote doesn't count more than anyone else's, and
yeah, she's a beauty.
Yeah, she went on and on. She actually made a lot of headlines with whatever she told me. I had to wear. That's the first time I was in court in person. A plea and sentencing, and when she was giving that speech, I was actually glad to make me wear a mask because I was like trying not to crack up while she was talking. But I had the mask on, so you couldn't tell.
Right.
But I mean, there was just I don't know why they took my plea for that instead of trying me, but. Like, I told you my friend went with me. They arrested him in April. He got bond. He wound up getting 30 days in a prison camp in Minnesota. But they arrested him, like, she spent like 30 days or something after after our request for bond. While I was in DC, she spent about a month. She's like, I'm going to have to think about this one. She took about almost a month to decide not to, which sucks because, I mean, you know, you can't go to appeals over it until you get denied, you know. So I had to wait that long just to get an appeal in. And I'm interested to see how my appeal went on because it was actually pretty good. I read it and everything. It was a different lawyer that wrote it up. That kind of specialized. And I wound up taking the plea before the appeals court decided on it. So I was really interested to see if they would have let me out.
Yeah.
But it wound up being a moot point. But yeah, she was not too friendly with me. I don't know. She really liked Civic though. He had her too. And yeah, he just had to write a big thing and get out.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he did what was it? And I'm a bad boy letter. I won't watch Fox News anymore. Trump supporters are cult members.
He was in there. He was sitting at the table where like all the detail always sat, like in the corner there, and he was like reading a draft of a letter he wrote to the judge. He was like, "I'm gonna give it to the judge, and maybe she'll let me out." And it was like how he was like thankful for the opportunity to be in jail because he got to get vaccinated or something, and all kinds of nonsense. I was like, kiss ass.
Yeah,
he was a pain.
We learned a little later he was quite a big fan of kissing ass, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you know, after taking your plea, you would actually, like, I know for Curzio, he was 2 days short when he pled guilty, or when he got sentenced, he was 2 days short of a full 6 months, and the judge made him serve the final 2 days just to be petty. For you though, weren't you were actually over your time, weren't you? Didn't you serve more than the time that you finally got sentenced to?
Yeah, I was January 19th. I was arrested, and I took my plea and was released. Not quite immediately. They sent me back to the jail, and then I had to get let out of jail. It took a few hours. I think you were in there. I think I was talking to you. They put me in a different cell while I was waiting to get let out. But yeah, January 19th to August 4th. I think it was. What is that? Almost 7 months. I think I was about 20 days over, maybe.
Yeah.
So I got to get out of jail free card in Washington now, I guess. I should be able to go there and like get in some kind of ruckus and be like, hey, I got 20 days credit. I don't know.
Yeah, I get a free mulligan.
Yeah, I should get something for that.
Fucking t-shirt.
Right?
So, I was when I finally got out, I got to watch a little something from this gentleman named Sessler or something like that. So you finally get out. You're walking out of the DC jail, and then what's the day like then?
It was great because I didn't know anything about Gary, but I'm just glad to be out. I was my lawyer was going to pick me up, but he was busy. She's like, oh, I'll be there, sometime. So I had like an hour to kill or something before. I think I called him on my way out or something. Let me make a phone call, and he's like, I'll be here at this time. So yeah, I was just walking outside where they let you out of the jail there. I was walking around, and I see two gentlemen and a younger gentleman. There's 3 guys there, and they got a camera set up and things, and I'm just like, out and about for the first time all year. And I looked at the screen, and it said something about the sham January 6th committee. And I looked, I was like, hey, what are you guys working on? Looks good. And they're like, oh, well, this is where they keep all the January 6th political prisoners, and we're doing a story on everything. He's from Washington State. He was running for Congress, and he was trying to get the word up. I was like, yeah, I just got out of there. And he's like, their jaws just dropped. And I mean, I looked a mess. I'd been in, they didn't let you shave or anything. And, I was in a shirt like 2 sizes too small and everything. I think they hadn't let me take a shower days or something. I think something happened with their leg or something. So I just looked a mess, but they were like, whoa, can we interview you? So yeah, so I got to talk to him, and I keep in contact with him a little bit. He ran again. He's got a horrible congressman out there. I think the last Republican left that voted for impeaching Trump. And yeah, he's a good guy. But yeah, so I got to talk to him, and he let me call my wife on his phone and everything. So yeah, it was just God grace. He just happened to be out there. Got to meet him, and yeah, but he was just out there. And, yeah, made his day though. Got to watch that, and that video was funny. It because he was asking me, about the rally and kind of same deal you're doing, but in person. And he put it out on YouTube, and it was funny. Like on the first day, it got to like 176,000 views. And people were sharing it everywhere. And if you look it up now, it still says 176,000. Like, it has not gone up. Like, they did some kind of weird thing. And they made it, like, harder to search for or something. But, like,
yeah.
It's, like, they just would not raise that number. They don't want it to look as popular as it was.
And when I actually was looking for it before this, and it's interesting. I noticed that when I typed your name in, all that came up were smear pieces from the legacy media, but I could not find the interview unless I typed in. I think I had to type in his name, or I had to Google it for it to come up.
Right.
So
funny how that works.
Yeah. What? So, after that, you're a free man. It's been a few years now. What's life been like since? Has it? Have you been able to pick up the pieces? Obviously, you couldn't pick up exactly where you left off, but how's life now?
Oh yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm glad to be out. I just keep praying for everyone that's in there, that these pardons work out and everything. But yeah, life was, my wife held up the fort, and yeah, everything's all right. Most of the town supported me and everything, so everyone. I don't know. It's kind of, some people think I'm some kind of hero or something. I mean, I don't know if you could call me a martyr or something, but I don't really consider myself any kind of, I didn't do anything too crazy or anything to warrant that, I don't think, but people appreciate what that I at least stood up and went to jail for it, and I've only had one person say bad words to me about it, but it's everyone else pretty much seems to appreciate it. But yeah, it does change your life a little bit, though. There's some people are nervous having you around. Like, am I going to get my house raided now if I haven't been working here or something? There is some of that. A little bit of paranoia about you with people, but for the most part, people, everyone seemed glad to have me out. And I did some, like you were saying, I kind of researched what people were saying while I was in there, and it's funny, like, I think everybody thought, like, oh, he's going to be gone for 20 years. All the people that buy everything the mainstream media says and everything.
Right.
Your educational, medical class, whatever. Not that all teachers and all doctors are communists, but you find a lot of them in those kind of fields. But yeah, there was
not that they're all scumbags. No.
But no. I mean, you'll find a lot of them there. There's one guy I went to school with, and I read his comments on the news articles and things saying, oh, how terrible what I did was and this and that. And, I mean, at the time, this was like, you're reading the paper about, oh, he's not getting bond 20 years, just, to the 20-year max. So they probably figured I'd be gone a while. So he was talking, oh, I remember him in school. He was always rebellious and this and that. He's definitely a danger, blah, blah, blah. So I ran into him at the grocery store once. It was funny. So I was walking out, and he was walking in. I was like, hey, Jason, how you been? I grinned at him real big, and his face turned white. He just kept walking. So that's amusing. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's offended by what I did. Like, I don't really care. They probably wouldn't like me to begin with.
Oh, no one's offended, Carl. You're an American Nelson Mandela.
Right? Alexei Navalny. Yeah, I remember. I came up with a plan in there because one of the radio stations I listened to a lot was Sputnik Radio, the Russian one. I think they might have shut it down since all that Ukraine stuff, but I came up with the idea listening to them. I shared it with George because he had the cell next to me. He thought it was hilarious, but my plan was when I got out, I was going to walk to or if I ever got out, I said, we need to contact the Russian embassy and do a prisoner swap. All of us for like Alexei Navalny and Pussy Riot. I thought it was genius, but never happened.
A great plan or the greatest plan?
There's way better plans out there, but I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, I remember inside there. You mentioned Ukraine. There was a moment. I think it was Jose Padilla. He would always joke that we should all offer to be drafted to go fight in Ukraine in exchange for our freedom. But I still don't think they would have gone for that.
I wouldn't have gone for that.
I can't blame you.
Which side?
So I'm gonna offer you the opportunity, Karl. Now you've had a lot of time to reflect. You were in there for over half a year. What do you think that the general public needs to know about January 6th, about J6ers? What didn't we cover? I'm going to give you the floor to just, speak your mind and tell the people anything you think they ought to know.
Sure. I think one thing I learned from it, and I mean people that are like, they think in general, like, maybe most of us should get pardons, but they don't realize all the provocations and brutality that a lot of people endured there in Washington. I had one guy say to me, well, they killed the guy with a hockey stick or something. I was like, no, they didn't. I just think the way all the defendants were treated was just a terrible thing to happen in what's supposed to be a free country. And if it can happen to us, it could happen to anybody. And you just have to, don't believe everything that you read. And, just really pray that these pardons work out, and that, anybody that wants to speak their mind, even if it's something you don't agree with, people have a right to protest, make their voices heard, assemble in groups, all that, if you're not hurting anyone or breaking any laws. That's what the First Amendment's all about. That's what America's about. Being involved in your community and involved in the decisions that the government's making. And that's what we were trying to do. And, free the 1-6ers, man. It's, I got faith Donald Trump's going to do the right thing. And, let pretty much all of us go. I mean, if he wants to leave, people that were doing a little bit too much cooperating and snitching in there, I'm not going to cry about them, but, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just stay vigilant, watch what's going on in your community. You get your news, you got to look through it of the lens, like what's really happening. Because, I knew most of the news was bullshit before going there, but after getting out and watching the news, even on the night of the 6th, I was like, how is this the story? Like, the main story I took was the government attacked a bunch of peaceful people that day. And, just pray for our country that, we start making some better decisions. And, you gotta keep your faith in God is the main thing, because, there's always going to be injustices in this world. And, just do your part. But that's about it that I can think of now, Tim. Appreciate you for letting me get my story out there and what you do for
for everybody, and I know your whole family's been helping the January 6th community this whole time, and I really appreciate all that. Your Aunt Cindy was good help when we got out, and just appreciate what you're doing, that you're keeping up the good fight, man.
Well, I appreciate that, Carl. Yeah, you didn't have to say that, Carl.
Cut it out then. You can censor whatever you want on here.
Withdrawn. Carl, I
what did you always say when I say something controversial?
disavow. I disavow.
Yeah. I'd come with you. I'd come at you with some wild ideas. You'd be like, disavow.
Not today, CIA.
Carl's a fad.
Fuck. Carl, I appreciate you talking with me, and I appreciate you telling your story. But, more than anything, I appreciate the fact that when you were in there, I could always rely on you to be ridiculous and hilarious. And I hated being in there, but if there's one thing I do miss, there was something about watching you weasel your way over to my cell and punch the glass window to get my attention.
Oh yeah. Gotta make some noise in there. I mean, it's so monotonous in there. I can tell you one more. You asked me before about funny things that happened in there.
Go for it.
And I don't mean to extend this over long, but this was actually a funny story. I was in cell 45. I had George next to me in 44. And that cell 46 kind of rotated. Like, Jake was there. It would usually be empty, but Jake was in there for a minute, and there was... I forget his name now, but he was from South Carolina. He was in there for a little bit. I think they said he stole a police badge or something. But whatever he did, he got bond, but he was next to me for a minute. And Hayes had just been by talking when no one was in that cell next to me. He when he was talking to me, he's like, kind of telling me to keep my spirits up or something. He goes, that cell next to you, 46, he says, I remember a few years ago there was a guy in there. He went to court one day. They sentenced him to like 900 months, and he hanged himself in there. And so whenever someone would show up, I told it to Jake, and I told it to the guy he's from Greenville, South Carolina. I can't remember his name right now. William something, I think. But anytime someone got that cell, I thought I'd get comfortable and share that story. Oh, they did not like it. It was pretty funny.
Oh my god!
I think that one actually managed to get moved out of that cell after a year. Yeah.
You're fortunate that I'm just the kind of guy who absolutely finds that funny.
No, but it's funny when people are just getting comfortable in their cell there, and you're like, hey. I got 900 months in there one time. He hanged himself off the top bunk.
That is horrible. It is offensive, and I disavow it, Carl. Oh, God.
Yeah. But, that was one of Hayes' nice words of wisdom there.
I disavow Hayes, too. Oh, fuck.
I disavow all of them.
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Bushrod was always pretty nice.
She was actually, she was a lamb.
Yeah.
Carl, I thank you again. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm just going to end with this. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 2 more weeks, man. It's happening.
That's right.
2 more weeks.
It's going down.
Yes, brother.